Greetings and welcome to the first annual Pacific Northwest Multicultural Readers Series and Film Festival powered by Zoomcatchers. Thank you so much for being here today. There will be Q&A during today's panel. To ask a question, please use the Q&A chat function found in the lower or upper section of your device. At this time, we are so pleased to introduce Garland Thompson, who will then introduce our panelists. Garland, take it away.
Thank you, David. Thank you so much. And thank you, everyone out there in the interwebs, in the world, everybody tuning in, and those of you who are going to watch this later on what we call VOD, Video On Demand. Thank you so much for taking the time out to be with us today. I am absolutely thrilled and floored at what kind of folks we have on our panel today. And let me tell you a little bit first about the panel. Of course, the title is African American Voices Told Through Black Theater. Now, the late legendary playwright August Wilson once said that there's no idea in the world that is not contained by Black life. I could write forever about the Black experience in America. This part two discussion we're having today, this panel discussion, is in tune with not only that idea, but the 2021 PNMC Festival theme, Our Voice, Our Story, Our Way, looking at Black theater festivals across the United States today. Our panelists for this session are all incredible and amazingly talented artists and professionals in their own right. We have three of the leaders of three Black theater festivals, three major Black theater festivals here in the United States. And we're going to have a conversation with them, basically kind of a wide-ranging, open conversation. As I said to them a little bit earlier, we're going to chop it up and see where it goes. We have on our panel today, I'm very proud to say, I'm proud that all of them are here. We have on our panel today Tony Simmons Henson, who is the co-founder and executive producing director of the Atlanta Black Theater Festival. Hi, Tony. How you doing today? Hey. She's doing well.
I'm awesome. I am awesome.
I'm gonna take the chance to say this, Tony. That there you go. There you go. Tony is awesome. And not only that, but she's coming to us from Nice, France, where she's been working and relaxing and taking care of herself. So we are very thrilled to have her here. Thank you for taking some time out from the beaches in Nice to be with us today. We've also got the executive director of the D.C. Black Theater Festival. I'm talking about none other than Mr. Glen Allen. Glen, thank you for being here with us today. It is very much a pleasure to see you and to have you here. Glen's got a very busy schedule, so the fact that he's here with us for an hour is just an amazing thing in itself. So thank you so much, Glen. We have, in the midst of these incredible administrators and creators and executive and artistic directors, we have in the midst award-winning playwright who has also her own production company, J.W. Hill Productions, and she is an award-winning playwright that you can find listed on the New Play Exchange. She is well known in the Black theater community and in the theater community in general. She is a multiple award-winning playwright. She is a creative artist whose unique voice and delivery make it impossible, if not make it difficult, shall I say, rather, if not just downright impossible, to categorize her work. She is the artistic director and founder of J.W. Hill Productions, and her mission is to tell stories about the African American experience with their voice. Thank you, Jeanette. Thank you for being here with us. And finally, closing out this great panel, last but never, ever least, I'm talking about the artistic director of the North Carolina Black Repertory Theater, an actor, a playwright, and a director, a very talented and award-winning one, as well as a feature filmmaker. I'm talking about, of course, a native of New Orleans, Mr. Jackie Alexander. Welcome, Jackie.
How you doing? Thank you.
How you doing? How you doing today?
Good. Excited to be here.
Excellent. Well, it is a thrill to have you all here. And we're here basically to discuss a subject that we all know and love, that we're all subject matter experts in, and that we all have a great deal of experience in. And of course, I'm talking about what's usually called Black theater. Although personally, I was thinking about this earlier, and you all can, shoot it down if you hate it or give me pushback or whatever. But I was thinking about this earlier. I was thinking, I actually prefer to think of what we do as we create American theater that is focused on the Black experience, on Black lives and Black stories. But ultimately, we are American theater because sometimes I feel, as proud as I am of doing Black theater, sometimes I feel like that can be a little bit of a, it can be a little bit of a separator. It can, put us somewhere over there. And I don't want to be over there. I'm here. So like I said, y'all can shoot me down and push me back and push back on.
I don't want to shoot you down. I don't want to shoot you down. But in fact, one of our taglines for our is that we tell stories about real life from the way Black people live it. That's what we do. We all tell stories. All of our stories are evergreen for the most part. So they can happen to a Jewish community, a Hispanic community, Scandinavian community. Everybody has trouble with their kids. Everybody gets sick. Everybody has marriage problems. We're just telling it from an African American perspective. So.
That's excellent. I roll with that 100%. Any other thoughts on that point, or anything else y'all want to throw in? Tony, you look like you got something just ready to come out of you.
I didn't want to jump out in front of anybody, but I heard Dr. Charlene Holmes, who's a phenomenal playwright. She said one time, Black encompasses so many things that the word is not big enough to describe what this experience is. And it's funny because the Atlanta Black Theater Festival now is going through this thing beyond borders now, where we are really just kind of taking off the blindfolds and looking at our stories from a perspective of other lenses, because I was inspired because by just this idea that our stories don't begin at the border. They don't begin at slavery. They begin way before then. And just this innate desire to want to connect to storytellers from all around the world who have or consider themselves or identify themselves as Black or Afro or African descendants. So that could be anybody. And it's just, that was my thought.
Right on. Jackie, Glenn, any thoughts on your ends about that?
I think all good stories are universal. A good play is universal. But the title Black Theater, I actually like it because it harkens back to a time when it wasn't accepted by everybody. It was created for us. Yes, we welcome everybody into the tent now. We want to grow that tent, but I like the connection to why it was created and what that title stands for.
I'm going to agree with the panel, and Jackie, I think you really make a good point, as well as Tony and Jeanette. I know for us at the DC Black Theater Festival, we struggled at first to name it Black. We were afraid that it would separate us from the larger community, and DC is very diverse. But Blackness had a uniqueness to it. It made us stand out a little bit more. And so we stamped that monitor on our chests and wore proud. And which I think is really interesting is that then we discovered a uniqueness. This is what Tony is talking about, a uniqueness in the Blackness or the Black experience. And we ended up dividing our survey by all the different experiences of Black, if they were Caribbean or African. Matter of fact, we have so many African playwrights that request space in the festival that we have an African or an overseas division that just compiles the artists that are from overseas. Africa is a big one for us, and so the Blackness has uniqueness to it, and that's what we're discovering at this festival.
I just want to jump in there and say this. There was a reason we had to create Black theater. And I know I'm the activist in the group, but that's okay. I wear that proudly. There was a reason we had to create Black theater because we were not being included. And I know that I don't make me have to redefine inclusive, but we won't go there. There was a reason because we were not welcome into mainstream, traditional, whatever you want to call it, theater. If they did take our stories, they were diluted, they were minimized, devalued, and twisted around. And I've even had people tell me, well, we have to fix it so that our clientele, our constituents are comfortable with what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And at the base, our art is activism. So at the base of it, my job is not to make you comfortable. Mm-hmm. My job is to tell you the story that I've been given to tell you. Mm-hmm. How you ingest it, how you're able to take that over a period of time or whatever. That's not, my job stopped when we closed the curtain. So I've done what I'm supposed to do, but there was a reason that Black theater was created. It wasn't because, oh, wow, we want to stand out and be different from everybody else. It was because no one else wanted us.
It's funny because when we were naming, I'm sorry, but when we were naming the Atlanta Black Theater Festival, we were told that it was by a white person who was very prominent in the theater community, said, if you want grant funding, you're going to have to call it something else. And I resisted that at the time. I'm glad we did. I'm glad we stood on our grounds and decided that we would not change it. Because now, look now, Black is trending again. Yeah. From a marketing standpoint, Black is trending again. But I always say, it doesn't matter what you are. If you identify as Black or even African American, once you show up, you're making a political statement, even if you don't intend to make a political statement. So just by showing up Black, I mean, I've been called racist more times on our Facebook page than just by saying the Atlanta Black Theater Festival than anything. I know you've experienced it too. You all have as well. I embrace it, and gone are the times where, the white man's ice is colder. And I'm just going to say it. That time is over. It's just everybody has the right to celebrate who they are. I don't care who you are, because we are Black because of our history and what has been stripped from us, our identification with region and tribe, et cetera, et cetera. So that's how we came to be Black. Now we can't even call ourselves Black. Come on, that's ridiculous. So yeah, let us celebrate. Just like, I'm here in Nice at the International Festival of Mondial de Teatro. It's an international festival. Everybody is celebrated. So why can't we just show up and be Black? Why is that offensive to anyone? So yeah, a little tired.
No, I want to throw this in there for a quick minute.
Go
ahead. I'm gonna throw this in there, but you have to remember.
You want to say, Janet?
Yeah, not that long ago, Black was what they called us. Black was the ugly word that we were referred to by mainstream. That was always on the news. It's someone who is Black. Okay, we already knew what happened, because if it happened, if anyone else committed the crime, it was just, this person of interest. But as soon as they knew it was someone Black, a Black man has been da 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 da. So for years they used it in a negative framework to identify us. So now when we flip the script and we are proud of who we are, and because trust me, if I was still in Africa, my last name would not be Hill. But because of where we are now, and while we wear it proudly, now suddenly, oh well, wait a minute, no, that's not how we intended it. That's no, you're proud of that. That's not our intention, for you to be proud of being Black. And now I'm going to shut up. Okay.
I'm really thrilled to hear these. No. Really, I'm really thrilled to hear all of these answers, and I threw that out there because not because necessarily I agree with everything that has just been said here, everything that you all said. I agree 100%. It is a question that has been roiling in my head, so I kind of threw that out there to get some other feedback on it, to see how are other people feeling about it? Because I'm just like you. I'm just as proud as all of you of our Black heritage. As executive artistic director of the Frank Silvera Writers Workshop, with a nearly 50-year history of developing stories from the Black diaspora and the African American cultural experience here in America. I mean, I was born and bred into this, so you're certainly preaching to the choir with me. But I find myself in 2021. I find us in 2021. And I find, and I'm trying, what I am trying in my own head to figure out is how to move forward with this incredible rich history that we have, and this rich, I mean, everything that you pointed out, what's the, way to do it. And so that's why I'm asking these questions. So, so, and I didn't mean to, I may have frozen up. Have I frozen up?
Oh, you're good. You're good.
You're good.
So, oh, good. Am I good now? Okay, great. Thank you. So, I'm wanting to know how others are looking at the way we're moving into the future and the way how others are dealing with this present that we have, which is on the one hand incredibly fractured and divisive and angry and just intolerable and intolerant. But on the other hand, there's so much incredible opportunity and ideas and fervor. So that's kind of where I was feeling with that. So.
I wasn't here at the beginning of NC Black Rep or the National Black Theater Festival in the naming, but I've heard stories where they faced pushback also. Yes. But I think staying true to, it's what we do. We do Black theater. The name encapsulates what we do. We support African-American playwrights. We develop, that's what the National Black Theater Festival is. And Black people are why the National Black Theater Festival is what it is today. The success comes from our people. So, that audience, I'm honoring that audience. They made it. So I would never think to change the name. It's about us, for us. You are welcome to join us, but know what you're going to get when you come.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love it.
I'm with you on that one. I think all of your name choices are very well thought out and are right. And again, are right on. I think it is a celebration, the way, and certainly the way all of you have approached it and done it. It is most definitely a rich, wonderful celebration, as it should be. So, absolutely. Let's take a little turn into the theater, since Jackie, you brought up the theater festivals and what have you. Let's talk a little bit about your theater festivals and how you all have been approaching telling our stories, and kind of a bit about perhaps the ethos behind of some of what you've done and what brought you to where you are. So, Jackie, you want to start us off a little bit on that, or?
Well, the National Black Theater Festival was founded in 1989 by Larry Leon Hamlin, and the festival was actually founded as a vehicle to help bring Black theater companies together. And 30 years later, I think it's incredibly successful. That vision has definitely grown and reached, heights that I don't even think the founder and our founder had some pretty big dreams. I think he passed in 2007, but I think we'd be very proud because that's what it is. We call it Black Theater Holy Ground. It's where everybody comes every 2 years to meet, reminisce. It's like a family reunion and really support the work, share resources. It's just a celebration of us. And that's what I love about the festival. We have productions from all over the world at this point: Africa, Canada, the United Kingdom. It's about 30, 35 productions per year, a reading series, Garland, that you run that, you might walk into at 2 a.m. and it's sold out. I mean, you can't walk in the room. There's film screenings, unlimited number of workshops. I've only been here since 2016. And I tell people all the time, they're like, "Oh, do you know about this?" I'm like, "No." It's like, "Well, but it's like, I know it's going to take me about 20 years before I know everything that goes on. I think Artie Reese and Miss Hamlin are probably the only two people who know every portion. So there's something to do from 8 in the morning till 4 a.m. the next morning. I don't know when people sleep, but it's just 6 days of a celebration.
Very little.
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah, that's Jackie. That's a week that I show up every 2 years, and that's literally the week that I get the least amount of sleep ever in my whole life. But I love it. I absolutely love it. Of course, it is a very unique experience, and I highly, highly recommend it to everybody, as all the other festivals. Glen, tell us a little bit about the DC Black Theater Festival.
Yeah, we started in 2009, and I will say. We really, really got our birth from national. I was there both festivals, both Atlanta's Art Festival and national in the early years. And so in DC, we decided to do something different. We knew we couldn't do what national was doing, so we decided to give birth to something that was similar but uniquely different. And so we wanted to do one playwright each day for 7 days. So we started this festival, 7-day festival, and then one playwright a day, and we would feature that playwright. We had 5 playwrights, and we sent the announcement out that we were looking for playwrights, and we got 57. So we knew we were doing something wrong. So we refocused our attention, and we came up with the festival. And DC is different than North Carolina. I mean, it is completely different. And so it's so different that for us, it's all over the place. It's scattered. It's overwhelming. We instead of doing 3 to 4 days, I think this year was 14 days. It is a festival.
Wow.
It is completely, we have lost our mind.
Festival.
We have lost our mind up here. And so, but we do this festival, and we do probably about 100. This year we did 168 performances. And we take over all the theaters in the city, and every space that will allow us in. And we do all of the work. And so what we're doing is not just theater anymore. And it's not just theater, it's theater, music, visual arts. It is poetry. It is all the things that if you are a content creator, it is the place to be. And for us, DC is our celebrity. So we have something unique in that, is that the city is our celebrity. And it is and has been for the last 12 years, a labor of love. DC Black Theater Festival.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. And that makes a very interesting point about the geographical differences there in the communities, and how you had to, really work hard to tailor to your area, to your audience, and to your geographical area. That's very important. Regions are very, very important, without a doubt. Tony, come to you and Atlanta. Tell us a little bit, because I know also now, Jackie, the National Black Theater Festival, we are every 2 years. And actually, we just made a big shift because we're coming back in 2022 because of COVID. So, right. And then, Glen, you are annually?
We're every year. Tony and I. Yep, Tony and I are every year.
Okay, you are an annual festival. And Tony, tell us about Atlanta. And you are annual too, I believe. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. We are annual. We stand on the shoulders of the DC and the national. What I like to say is we went to the DC Black Theater Festival. We attended the National Black Theater Festival. And we took all of the great ideas that you have and created the Atlanta Black Theater Festival. I ain't no shame in my game. I'm serious. And I love your festivals. The reason why I love both of those festivals, because I don't get to attend my festival, as you all know. So if you want to, when you're running stuff and you're trying to make sure all the ducks are in a row and everything gets off right, you don't get to enjoy it. So when the national comes up, I just come and I have a fantastic time. And when DC comes up, I haven't been to DC in a couple of years, but I miss it, and I'm coming back, and it is crazy. And I know DC. I went to Howard. I love DC, and I think that's the beauty of each festival has its own different personality. But if it were up to me, every major market would have a Black Theater Festival. If I could achieve that, if I were to just wave my wand or whatever, wish, if I were 20 years younger, maybe, but I believe it should be in every major market. There should be a Black Theater Festival titled Black in every major market, because there's so much work out there. There's just too much work out there. But I didn't tell you about the ABTF. The ABTF annual festival of 40 plays in 4 days. That's us. And this year we're celebrating our 10th year, so 10th anniversary. So we've reached a milestone.
Excellent. Oh, that is such a wonderful, congratulations on that. That is definitely a milestone, a whole decade. And your stats are pretty incredible. Is it 3,000, if I recall correctly, 3,000 performing artists have had a chance in those 10 years to perform on your stages? Is that right?
Yes, over 150 playwrights have garnered our stages and produced over 200 original plays. And over 3,000 artists have performed on our stages at some point in time, somewhere, somehow.
That's some, and you know what? And we actually have one of those artists on our very panel right here, a playwright who has won awards from both your festival, Tony, the Atlanta Black Theater Festival, and from your festival, Glen, the DC Black Theater Festival. I'm, of course, talking about the lovely Miss Jeanette Hill. Jeanette, talk to us a little bit. Tell us about your festival's, kind of experience, and give us your thoughts a little bit here.
I am so very. I've been a part of all three festivals, so my work has been shown in all three festivals. So I am not only glad, but I am also so honored that my work has shown up in these festivals, because I consider them the icons, the pinnacle of Black theater. I know we say about New York, but these people have taken on the core of what Black theater is, and they've taken the best of it and they pushed it out for us to see, so that we can be proud of ourselves culturally as well as in every other area. So, my festival experience, and it was interesting because Tony always tells this story at the festival, and I wish he wouldn't. When I was first submitting to festivals, because years ago I was going to do it, and I let people whisper in my ear, "Oh, nobody wants to see your work; it's too out there." And the last day to submit, I kept saying, "I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it." The last pickup was at 8:30 that night. Finally, at 8:17, I decided I'm going to bite the bullet. And I grabbed my script, threw it in an envelope. In fact, the mailman was locking the post office box. And he said, "Lady, just because you got a nice smile." He had locked everything up and he took it. And I went home and I said, "What did you just do? This was fruitless. This is going nowhere. No, these people are going to want like the Lynn Nottages, all these people. They're not looking for anything somebody like you might do." And when I got the note, it was like one of those, if anything, any of you know anything about Kojic folk, I did my shouting through the, it's like, and then turned around and Glen sent me a letter. "Yeah, you're in." And it was just amazing. Then another festival said, "Yes, you're in." And it's like, okay, this means to me and other artists that our work matters, that we're not writing in vain. We're not pulling our stories, our lives, all the blood, sweat, and tears to get our stories out there with our voice. That there are people who appreciate it. There are people who want it to be seen. There are people who are supporting us. And they're doing everything they can to make sure that we get our stories out there so that people can see them. And even though we may not tell the Jackies and the Tonys and the Glens how appreciative we are, because we argue a lot. I don't argue with Jackie because I don't know him that well, but we will. But it's just amazing, and it written over 150 plays. So I'm not. That's not a boast. I'm just that kind of prolific. But I've sat on them for years thinking nobody wants to really hear about Black stories. not necessarily Jeanette's stories, but nobody really wants to hear. They want you to redo A Trip to Bountiful. No, they want you to redo other than A Raisin in the Sun. So when we get a chance to find people who welcome our stories, not just one where Glen said they were looking for 5 and they got 57. Trust me, if he had extended that submission deadline, he would have probably gotten 557. Because there are so many of us with so many stories that need to be told, and we need so many. I'm with Tony. Tony and Glen will tell you, I have been for the last 5 years promoting. You festival directors need to get together, and there needs to be a quarter to quarter festival best of the fest that goes around that can culminate at national. That's the way I believe it should happen, from all over the country, from all of the festivals that are being done. Now, that's just me. Now, I'm on Tony's advisory board, so she hears it all the time. But I think that's how it should be, because we need our stories out there. There are people sitting on stories that can change this world. And I believe that. So my festival experience has always been, it's like a stamp of approval. It's like a stamp of approval when you get accepted into one of these festivals. And Tony laughed when I said, because she says I've won so much, she doesn't want me to submit anymore. But the nexus is that, to me, any play that gets accepted into a festival is a winner. It's a winner. None of these festivals are accepting every single play that is sent to them. They're not. Mm-hmm. So every single submission that is accepted into that festival is a winner, in my estimation. You may not get the first, second, it's that competitive thing, but that doesn't matter. If they submitted 500 applications and they took 40, you are a winner. You are a winner. And so for anybody that's out there listening, don't sit on your work. Don't wait for somebody to give you a stamp. Jump in the water. It's going to be cold at first, but trust me, you'll acclimate.
Very true. That's very right. Absolutely. That's very good advice for your fellow artists and playwrights out there. Directors, what do y'all have to say to that?
I have to respond because it's, there's this thing happening, and I told them when they sent me the invitation to sit on this panel, I said, I'm not going to mince my words. I don't do it. I haven't done it, so I'm not going to start now. But there's this dynamic. And Glen called it traditional theater versus urban contemporary theater, and he explained it to me. And so when he shared, we had a two-hour conversation at IHOP. Glen was so gracious to me. He didn't know me from Adam. And he shared with me everything that I needed to know in order to get things going. And the mistakes that, to avoid, what to not do, what to do. And he shared this concept. He said, if you let in urban contemporary theater, he said the elite theater people are not going to embrace it. So you need to be aware of that. So we went through this like, how do we define the Atlanta Black Theater Festival? Because my background is marketing, and marketing is really important. So you have to be able to know what your audience is and what the palette of your audience is, and you have to give your shape and the product and identity, and then go after that audience. So it was very, very difficult for us to shape the festival. And what we decided to do is we decided to have or attract the audience of both. And I think that's been our secret sauce, to attract both audiences, those audiences who appreciate. Now, I grew up in the backyard of Broadway. I grew up in Newark, New Jersey. We went to Broadway. My palette is traditional theater. It's not urban theater, but there's a place for it. There's a market for it. Anybody ever heard of Tyler Perry? There's a market for it. And so what we decided to do is we decided that we would vet the urban contemporary, but it would be great urban contemporary theater. And I don't want to put Jeanette in that space because I believe her different plays are in that space, but the first plays that she submitted to us were more of the urban contemporary type, in my personal opinion. And I don't want to put you in the box. And she started winning. And ours is an award ceremony that's based on festival favorite, which means the audience votes. We don't vote. We don't have adjudicators that vote. It's festival favorite based on the audience's participation and their vote and their input, and also volunteers and staff, etc. So when Jeanette started winning, we said, okay, this is where our secret sauce is. It's somewhere in the middle, where we can provide a platform where any playwright, no matter what genre, no matter what their assigned is in somebody else's mind, we were gonna allow that open for people to tell their stories. The reason why I am in France right now is a 50-year-old woman named Dr. Janice Liddell, retired from Clark Atlanta University and decided she wanted to write a play. She would not be considered your typical playwright. And she wrote a play called Who Will Sing for Lena? And it is winning awards all over the world. And we are here because it is representing the United States here in France at the International Festival. Now, if that woman had not submitted this play, and I can't say that the Atlanta Black Theater Festival was the springboard for it. She has not said that. I don't say it, but I know that ABTF gave her a lot of God gave her a lot of spotlight and a lot of shine, and she started taking it out. And it's been to Jamaica, it's been to Canada, it's been to Edinburgh, it has been all over the place. And had she listened to, because the people that she got advice from were your traditionalists, had she listened to them, she would have never submitted a play, because they told her, don't go the festival route. They said, avoid that. It's going to taint your play, and then you're not going to be able to get it in a theater anywhere. She would have been sitting around with a phenomenal play, and had she taken that advice. So that's what it is. I think we need to take away the elitism in theater. I think if people tell a story and they tell it well, then they should have a platform in order to tell their stories, to give voice to their story. It's a little different topic, but that's what I felt like saying.
No, absolutely. Thank you, Tony. No, thank you. That's what this forum was about. That's what I was hoping. That's what I want y'all to do, is to put out what y'all are really thinking and feeling. And that's, thank you for putting that out there. Glenn, since she brought you up in the conversation, how you had helped her out, and what do you think about what Jeanette was saying and what we just heard from Tony? What does that spark for you?
So let me ride on the back of Tony, because Tony, I think you're absolutely right. There is a struggle between the genres of regional theater and urban theater. And so when we did the festival, what we wanted to do is what Tony said. We wanted to find a space for all the voices, that there is an audience for urban theater, and there is a space for regional theater, and there's a space for ballet. You know, there's a space for all of us, and we all tell our own stories, and there's an audience for all those stories. It's how you blend it, how you present it, that allows you to then build a robust festival. And so we have those categories. We do probably 60% regional theater, because our audience asks for that. But then 40% of our audience will then divide up into two other categories. We call them urban and urban gospel. And there is an audience for that. Matter of fact, our biggest play, I was talking to someone this morning about it. Our fastest selling play, I think it sold out, it's the fastest selling play in the history of theater. I was telling August Bullock this. It sold out in 20 minutes. And it was B-Boy Blues, which is a gay play. And it was the fastest selling play in the history of our theater. And it was so incredible to do this and then not have a category for the work, right? So, you know, so you have urban and urban gospel and regional, and then this play. And so, but there's a voice, there's a place for everybody. And we just have to be able to take off our shirts and ties or our kufis or whatever it is, and then allow those people to stand and give them a voice.
And as a beneficiary of what he's talking about, because my work, they've never been able to categorize. When I try to move toward the urban theater, they're very quick to tell me, you don't belong here. You know, this is not for you, you don't fit. When I talk to traditionalists, well, no, what you're doing isn't, no, it's not, you know, if you could tone it down, if you could change this, if you could move that. And I try to tell them, if I do that, that's not my story anymore. And I would probably send you an invoice because it would become a work for hire. But, you know, so and it's interesting because when you apply to festivals, there's a list of what do you consider your work? And it's not gospel. You say, well, it's gospel. Okay, no, it's inspirational. No, it's not really that either. And it's like, I don't know what to check. And so I close my eyes and throw a dart sometimes. Okay, I'll just do this, you know, and hopefully you'll get it when you get it. And so with the fact that these festivals have opened up so that I don't have to be pigeonholed or change what my story is to fit into what you're saying your criteria is, that realistically, if we are talking Black theater, you can't have those boxes because we have all kinds of stories. All kinds of stories. So you're probably not going to have enough boxes on a festival to put every single category. So I'm just grateful that these visionaries and the next generation of visionary, Jack, have opened up their festivals so that people like me who don't fit it. Dr. Millett told me once, he said, don't worry about what you're doing. You're a trailblazer. Just keep going. Just keep going. Don't worry about it. Stop trying to find a name for what you do. Just tell your stories and keep going. And so I'm really blessed that these theaters allow me and people like me who don't fit into gospel, who don't fit into urban, who don't fit into traditional, that they allow me to come in and tell my story, and other artists who like me, whose stories are viable and important and totally reflective of the Black experience. You give us a platform. And we are grateful for that. We are, because otherwise, I'm a self-producing playwright because people didn't want to do my work. I've even had Black people tell me, oh, it's a little too Black, it's a little too this. We don't, that's not going. So I decided to start doing my work. And one of the things I had to tell myself, okay, you need to define success for yourself. Stop worrying about, is this going to get to Broadway? Will this make it to a regional theater? Will this make it to a community theater? Will this be done in a festival? Define success for yourself. Do you want your story out there? Yes, then put it out there. So I consider myself successful if I have to put my play on my patio. I still get to put my stories out there. And that's how I define myself as successful. My work is getting out, people are seeing it, and by their feedback, they're understanding it and they're relating because, that was my Aunt Shirley. Oh, I did that. Oh, I felt that. That's what I'm looking for. That's my success. That's my success. It's not that you sold out the theater. It's not that we're going to put this on off Broadway. It's that there are people that see this and they relate. It's them, it's their mother, it's their aunt, it's their brother, it's their cousin. It's something that they feel. And that's what I want you to feel my work. I don't want you to just watch it. I want you to feel it.
We're going to go and take some questions in just a couple of minutes, probably in about 3 or 4 minutes. But before that, Jackie, what does all this spark for you as artistic director of the National Black Theater Festival, and because you have faced these challenges without a doubt in terms of these programming for the festival. So what does this spark for you?
Well, one of the great things about the festival, and I inherited it, no one can dictate our programming because the people are coming. We don't, critics can say this, they can say that. They're coming, and we know that. So I think with Tony, without everybody, referenced is the elitism. I don't like that. That has no place. And one of my main reasons for that is because Black theater is looked at that way a lot of places. I know in New York, a lot of wonderful Black theaters are dismissed because simply they're Black theaters. Mm-hmm. So when you start saying this is better, Tyler Perry is a great example. I remember when I first heard about Tyler Perry and I would go home. I'm originally from Louisiana. My aunts, my mother, these people loved those shows. So who am I to sit in judgment of what they appreciate? That's not my job. So what we do at the festival is look at the best plays. We want to make sure there's something there for everybody. But yes, I like certain things, but it's not my place or anyone's place to sit and say, this is better than this, or this is superior to this, or this person doesn't know theater. They like that because they don't know real theater. Who are you? Real theater is what moves me. So I think I'm always annoyed when I hear somebody say that's not real theater or that's not this or that. That's not your place. We pick the best plays. Again, we try to mix it up to make sure we're going to have some comedies, some musicals, some dramas, something that will touch everybody. But again, we're in a very unique place because every critic in the world can say this or that about what we program. Our audience is coming and they love it. So, I say to all Black theaters, find your audience, build your audience where you're not dependent upon what the New York Times is saying or what this paper is saying. Our audience loves it. That's the only critic I'm concerned about. On Saturday night, when people say I had a great festival, I saw great shows, our job is done. I don't need to read reviews the next week on our plays. Our audience just told me everything I needed to know.
Absolutely.
There you go. Well, absolutely. That is always the final arbiter. One of the things I always look to was, are people still like 30 minutes later after the show is finished and closed and everybody's going, are they still standing around in the lobby and we're trying to get rid of them because we want to go home? But no, that's great because that's the best, because that's when you've had the effect, where they just have to stay and talk about it and they're going to carry that conversation out to wherever they go. And that's really beautiful. Speaking of conversation, we've come to that point where we want to take some Q&A here, do a little Q&A. And we've got, I'm told, 6 questions in the queue. So I think that's probably enough to fill up the next 15 minutes. So let's get right to it. David, help us out here. Who do we have in the Q&A? You want to talk to us for a second, David?
Thanks, Garland. Our first question, do you feel we are developing Black talent or just showcasing the cream of the crop?
This is a good question. Glenn, I see your hand up. Go for it.
I want to go first on this one. I'm sorry. I know all of us have a favorite. But for me, in 2011, 2010, and the answer is yes, we are developing talent. But in 2010, I received a play called 526 from a young playwright that no one knew. And by the time the festival started, she had to pull her play out. It became Sunset Baby, and the playwright was Dominique Morceau. And she started here at the festival. So there are people who are all around us that we get a chance to give platform to, not so much develop, but platform to. And that platform is exactly what they needed to get recognized, to get the confidence, to gain the confidence they needed to go to the next place.
Excellent.
Hey, I'll jump in from
Tony,
developing talent. Let Tony go. No, let Tony go.
Okay.
That's fine.
All right, how about Tony, then Jeanette, and then we'll hear from Jackie on this one. How about that?
That'll work.
I agree so much with what Glenn just said. Just giving I'm not an expert. I'm a marketing businesswoman, and my product is theater. So I can't even, if it was bad, I wouldn't be able to tell you because I don't study it. I just enjoy it. So to develop, I think the examples that I've already given, Jeanette Hill, for one. When I first spoke to Jeanette, when she won her first award at the festival, she told me in almost in tears that she was gonna quit. She was gonna quit. And now her plays have been, she's had readings produced by Woody King in the New Federal Theater. There's a woman by the name of Andrea Wilson, Dr. Andrea Wilson, who got an atelier. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, with SCAD, because they heard that she won an award at the Atlanta Black Theater Festival for her reading. And then she moved on to teach dramatic writing at a university. She's in the Midwest now, teaching dramatic writing because of that. So there's just some examples of the people who have used, again, the platform as a springboard towards getting opportunities. I don't want to say better opportunities, just getting opportunities. And when we first started with the ABTF, we thought, okay, are we going to be a springboard, or we're going to be the goal? And we ended up being a little bit of both. So, but I appreciate that question. Just a platform, not to develop, nor but just to give opportunity to those who otherwise would not have it.
Wonderful. Jeanette.
Okay, I totally agree that they have provided a platform. Why me, on the other hand, because I wear all the hats, because and I'm gonna have to give a shout out to the city of Austin, because as much as we are at war, and trust me, we war, they have a cultural arts program that over the last 10 or 12 years has given me over $100,000 to produce my work here in Austin. So I'm told they respect my work. That's probably the best way to put it. They respect my work because I'm one of the few Black, according to them, and I hate it when they say this, but they tell me it's the truth. I'm one of the few Black artists they have here who puts out quality work. Mm-hmm. But that goes back to your question. That goes back. A lot of the times it's not because these other people do not have good work or good, it's because no one has taken the time to develop them, help them show what they need to do. So I this past summer I did a whole season because to get away from all the madness of politics and the madness of this pandemic, I started doing a series called Monday Night Magic, where I was doing stage readings of my plays every Monday night for I don't know how many, we did it for months. I was able, the city let me expand the use of the money that they had given me because I could not get in a theater. So I was able to pay over 53 actors a stipend for reading my work last year and part of this year. And a lot of that is, some of those people were seasoned. We had some people that were Broadway people. We had some people that did off-Broadway and local theater. But we also had some new people that we brought in we had new people that were actors, but they were interested in stage managing. So we gave them the opportunity to kind of do some Zoom, which is a whole different thing from stage. Zoom stage managing is a little different from regular stage. So we brought them in because they were interested to do that. And we helped work them through that. This is what you need to do. We had some that really hadn't, we kind of put them on as assistant tech because on their job, they did a lot of Zoom. So when they came in, they were more knowledgeable about Zoom and the things that happened with Zoom than I was. So we brought them in. Okay, how can we do this? I want to see these 3 actors on here. Okay, this is what we do. Mm-hmm. So we come in and we develop that talent because once you teach somebody something, no one can ever take that away from them. So when we help them learn to stage manage, when we help them with the tech part, when we help the actors come in where I may not have acted before, but I've always wanted to, okay, let's see what you can do. And I found some natural talent with some people who really have only done 1 or 2 other plays. But once you come in and you kind of massage that in them, they blow the roof off. Mm-hmm. We had one girl, it was her first play, and people that they thought she had been doing it for years because she just took off and whoosh. So yes, we need to nurture that talent. We have to nurture it. Who else is going to nurture it if we don't?
There it is.
Who else is going to take the time with our artist in our work that we're doing with our voice? Who else is going to do that?
There it is.
So we need those platforms, and we need the people out here who are going to give these people a chance and who are going to take, okay, you're not doing this quite right. Let's take a little time and let's get you to the next level. Let's not dismiss you because you're not doing what I want you to do, but let's see if we can get you to the next level and get you to, kind of massage some of these edges that aren't quite where they need to be. Let's show you how important it is for you to show up on time when you're supposed to be here. How important it is for you to learn your lines. How important it is for you to make moves and block, even though it's Zoom, to kind of block a little bit. What that means in terms of people looking at it and not seeing you with a black shirt on and a music stand and you reading. Mm-hmm. And so we've done that, Excellent. This last year, and we have other people that are doing the same thing. So
I'm going to go ahead and push this on because let's hear from Jackie real quick. But we've got some other questions and what we want to try and get to. So Jackie, what's your feeling about this real quick, and then we'll jump to the second question.
I think the festival serves both. It's a platform, but it also helps develop playwrights, and we're actually creating new programming to even further developing playwriting. So I don't think it's an either or. It's both. We do both. Yeah.
That's very true, and I can certainly attest to that as the curator of the Garland Lee Thompson Senior play reading series, Reader's Theater of New Works play reading series. Absolutely, that's absolutely what our job is to do. So, absolutely, David, what's our next question?
Next question for the festival creators: is there anything you would do differently next season, knowing what you know, and what is your next step?
Who'd like to take that one on first? Glen, you're over there. You're over there giggling. What do you got going on, Glen?
So I didn't want to go first. But I will.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Each year there are new lessons to learn every year, and every year there's something different to do. And we try to get better. We try to pay our bills. We try to pay what we owe. And, just when you do something that we do, all of us do, there are some eggs that you break. I would just like to heal some of the wounds, folks who come in. We are consistently inconsistent as a festival in DC, which means that there are some plays that sell out and some plays that don't. And there's no rhyme or reason for it. Tony can have a play. Matter of fact, you did. Tony, you had a play that came out of Canada that did really, really well at your festival. She came to DC and didn't do so well. And that inconsistency, that thing that troubles us is what we would like to fix. We would like to be like National. Every play at National sells out. I mean, you get to National and can't get a ticket for a play. I tried to see Leroy, I can't remember the name.
Looking for Leroy.
Looking for
Leroy. And it was so mad. I mean, I sat outside the door. I said, I'll usher. I'll clean up after the play. I mean, just let me in. And so, but almost every place sells out at National. And for some reason, National has that secret sauce that I know for us, we struggle with. And so I would like to try to fix that inconsistency to see how we could then do a better job at helping all the playwrights and all the actors succeed.
Wonderful. Jackie, let's pivot to you for a second, since we were mentioning the National Black Theater Festival, which for those folks out there who don't know, due to COVID has underwent a schedule change and was actually supposed to have happened earlier this month, but got pushed off, got pushed forward to 2022, to August of 2022. So you've had you and the group down there your team down there have had some very interesting challenges to face. How would you like to answer this?
Yeah, well, we're biennial. We're every other year. So we're actually switching to 2022, and we're going to stay on the even numbered years. So it's going to be every even numbered year moving forward. Our festival is just too big for us to do every year with the staff we have. One of the things coming out of COVID that we want to incorporate next year, I know I'm working to incorporate it, is virtual, because this has opened up a whole new world. And everybody can't get to Winston-Salem, and we do have the capability now to screen some of the workshops, possibly screen some of the play readings, and invite people to get a taste of it. Maybe even stream some of the closing night parade or some just from the Marriott lobby, because it opens up our audience base. They see, they only hear. You have to be here to actually experience it. But if you get to see it, you might want a taste of it. So we think that might help grow our audience. So based off of the past year, we've been doing some virtual programming, And we have an international audience. So people have been watching our plays all over the world. And we're like, hey, well, why not allow people to get a glimpse of the festival? We don't think that will stop anybody from coming. We actually think once people see what's going on, they'll want to come even more. So that's one of the big things we're working on.
Right on. Absolutely. Will want to come and experience it for themselves. It becomes then an experience that people want to do. And I'm with you. I wholeheartedly recommend it. If you've never been, you absolutely must go. Yeah. Tony, what is this? What does this question take you?
Okay. What was the question again?
David?
So sorry.
No problem. The question was, knowing what you know now, is there anything you would do differently next season in your respective festival, and what are some next steps?
Thank you. You know what? We've got a lot of stuff on the burner, and I'm not ready to disclose it yet or announce it yet, but it will continually be under the theme Beyond Borders, producing and developing relationships with artists, arts organizations, and communities across the borders. We have a delegation of 40 artists, playwrights, and art enthusiasts going to Ghana in December of this year. We're going to be there for 8 days, and we're going to be hosted by the National Theater as well as the Screen Actors Guild of Ghana. And then we are in the process of developing a relationship. There is a very vibrant and well-respected playwright and filmmaker in Zimbabwe who we've just connected on every level. And so she's trying to put together a southern, an opportunity in the southern region of Africa between Zimbabwe, Botswana, and South Africa. And she wants to do something in 2022 to bring together artists from all over. So we're really looking at there's 1 billion people in Africa. Glen talked about marketing and selling out. There's 1 billion people who really want to see Black theater from all over the place. They love the arts. The arts and culture is important to them. They don't have to compete with the film industry, Netflix, and all that. So we're looking at other markets. And again, my thing is always from a marketing perspective and an audience development perspective. How do we get butts in seats? How do we get eyeballs on screens? And that's, to me, looking at other markets that are emerging and have a thirst and a hunger for this that we call theater, this thing we call theater. Yeah.
Excellent. That is absolutely beautiful. That's wonderful to hear all of what you all are planning and what's coming up for your festivals. I've been informed we are at time. Believe it or not, we have basically run out of time. Unfortunately, we're kind of like stacked up over LAX with our events here at this festival, so I don't really have any time. Otherwise, I would keep going to try and answer the rest of the questions. Thank you to those of you who posed your questions. We're sorry to those who we couldn't get to your questions today, but we hope that you will go and find each of these festivals. The Atlanta Black Theater Festival, go find them. All you have to do is put that in your search engine and you will find it immediately. Same thing with the D.C. Black Repertory Festival. You will find them immediately. Put that name in your search engine. And by the way, I have to say congratulations on that website. That is one slamming website they got going on there. So if you want to be inspired for Black arts and Black theater, go check it out. Atlanta too. And then of course our lovely National Black Theater Festival folks, nbtf.org, right, Jackie?
That's it.
That's where we'll go. And of course, look up J.W. Hill, Jeanette Hill, J.W. Hill Productions. She's been doing a virtual play reading series since COVID hit for the last year. And so she is definitely someone that if you're interested in the business, in arts, if you're a playwright, if you're an actor, if you're a director, you want to get in touch with her because she clearly has a lot of wonderful knowledge and a lot of great things to say. And she'd be a great resource for anybody to have. So any final words from all of you before we say sayonara to the interwebs?
Yeah, I do. I want to say thank you, Garland, for the legacy that you are continuing to shine through. It is your dad who gave us the vision for doing a reading series And from that reading series, we have birthed so many folks. And it was always so good to come to the festival to see your family. And so I just want to thank you for hosting this, but also thank you for living the legacy.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Absolutely.
That means a whole lot. Thank you. Anybody else?
Just thanks for bringing us together. I think someone mentioned collaborations and talking more and different workshops and that's been going on through this virtual world. It's been kind of a blessing because we get so caught up in our day to day that, I actually had never met Glen. So it's great to, still having face to face, but we're going to make that happen once the world starts spinning. So thank you for doing this.
Absolutely. Our pleasure. On that point, I have to give a big shout out to Sharon Hopkins, who has been the curator of this festival, and she's the one who has done the legwork, and quite a bit of legwork she has to put this festival together. To reach out. She has spoken to each and every one of you, and she has read every script for every play that's being read. She has put together every panel. She put this whole thing together. So a huge shout out to Sharon. She has been working day and night to put this together. And also, of course, to Jerry Foster from the Scanner up there in Portland, who also worked day and night with Sharon to put this together. Between the two of them, they put in, I don't even know how many hours they put in. Just let's say it's a lot. Okay. And they went through every detail. They contacted all of you. They put it in there. They got the, pulled the economic side together and the marketing and the research. And then they pulled in my company, Zoom Catchers, so that the festival would be powered by Zoom Catchers. And that I could, and asked me to speak. And when Sharon asked me to host this panel, I was so overjoyed to be able to have a chance to, first of all, get all of y'all into the same room for a few minutes, for a little while, because that's an amazing feat in its own. But to get all of y'all big brains with what y'all are doing to talk and hash it out and let folks hear some of what your thought processes are and what goes on behind the scenes at these festivals, at productions, at plays that, J.W. Hill that Jeanette has produced, all of it. It really is very, very informative and valuable. So I want to thank all of you for taking time out of your busy schedules to be with us today. And thank you. I'm going to continue the legacy. The Frank Silvera Writers Workshop is continuing on. We are actually going virtual ourselves, so we'll be starting that up soon. We've been kind of on hiatus because of COVID, but we are coming back virtual, and so we are going to continue that. And in about 2 years, we're going to be celebrating our 50th anniversary. So look forward to hearing about that. And I'm sure I'm probably going to be reaching out to all of y'all to lend a hand or give me some ideas or throw a bug in my ear or give me somebody's phone number or something. So, or, maybe put y'all on a steering committee or something. So, with that, I'm going to say thank you very much. Thank you also to the Zoom Catcher staff, David behind the scenes, whose voice you heard, Lily Forrester, who is our co-host. There she is, Lily. And of course, Kimberly Gunn, executive director of Zoom Catchers and our digital live streaming producer for the festival. Thank you to all of them, and thank you to everyone involved. This has just been absolutely a dream. There's more stuff going on, so check the schedule. There's lots more stuff going on today, and we've still got one more day of stuff going on, so please check it out. And thank you for being a part of the Pacific Northwest Multicultural Readers Series and Film Festival. So
we thank all of you.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
A great day, interwebs. We are out. Enjoy the rest of your life. Stay safe.
Everybody be safe out there and enjoy.
Be safe out there. Be safe out there. Be careful. Get that vaccination and just take care of business, y'all. We'll catch you next time.